After making a Canon guide video only half a week ago, the developer actually decided to update the way the elevation rate are calculated by the game. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how it works right now and how to make the most out of your gun elevation rate. So, of course, first up we're going to talk about the elevation angle and depression angle, which are limited by 30 degrees for elevation at all times, that is not changeable, and the gun depression angle depending on the length of the mantlet and the height of your turret roof, as well as the placement of your mantlet. If I place this mantlet further downwards, you might notice my gun depression has improved because there is more space between it and the top of your roof. And the cannon does not care about clipping through the build itself. So you can actually use this to decrease the height of the turret, decreasing the rate and the profile of your build without losing out on gun depression. You still got very good gun depression despite having lowered the hull roof. So it is always a good option to lower your gun to as low as possible in your mantlet, because the elevation is still going to be 30 degrees whether it's supposed to fit in there or not. There's no check for going through the bottom right here. You can see it would be blocked realistically, but it doesn't get blocked, so we're all good there. Now, of course, we have the elevation rate. There are two things that consider elevation rate. This first one is, of course, the torque slider. More torque means more elevation rate. The maximum amount of torque that you can exert on your gun depends on the era that you're building in. Of course, the sandbox is always mid-war, and that cannot be changed as of now. So it's going to be limited to 6 kilonewtons. But if you're going to go into a late war scenario, it's going to be going up to 10, allowing you to increase the elevation rate of your cannon. When going actually into the cannon, you have this little blue line that's exerting away or from the red line that's calculating your gun depression angles. And by either increasing or decreasing barrel length, or increasing or decreasing the shell length, you can see how that thing moves. You can also increase the size of the gun. And generally overall, a larger caliber will mean a heavier mantlet, so you will need a longer barrel to compensate for it, while a, of course, smaller caliber will make your barrel lighter. So what you want to do is make this little blue line right here as small as possible. So right now my barrel is too long, so I would have to shorten it in, right, like to this here, to maximize my gun elevation. So you can see it's only 247, but if I were to, let's say, make the shell length shorter, it's going to be 0.75 because the gun is no longer balanced. If you are still like unsatisfied with the gun elevation, the only thing that you can do is decrease the caliber and decrease the length of the gun to make the mass of the gun lower, just lower the shell length and the length of the gun. That way you will get increased elevation rates, of course, but of course you will lose out on armor penetration. There is no way around having a big gun that elevates fast. That is not possible. It is going to elevate slower the bigger your gun is, and there's literally no way around that as of now. So yeah, that is pretty much it when it comes to cannons. Of course, when you're making cannon, you still want to make sure that your 95% burn off is still at least achieved, because 95% of your penetration is going to be achieved by getting a barrel of this length. By making a longer barrel, you still get a slightly increased penetration, but that's not really needed. But at least being a little bit above this number right here, you will get a very solid amount of penetration. So this 88mm gun gets 136mm of armor penetration as an example. Another thing that you can do actually to improve the weight of the gun is actually by reducing the thickness and increasing the barrel length. For example, here I have a 926 kilogram balance gun, but if I say to shorten it back down and increase the thickness to make up for this, you can see I have a much heavier barrel now, even though that is not really intended. it is going to be heavier because it's not just weight that these care about, and also it's weight over the distance away from this pivot point. So increasing the weight at the end of the barrel, or by increasing the length of the barrel, you will get better results by having basically weight further away from the pivot point, balancing it out quicker without increasing the mass of the cannon as much, which will actually result in a higher total elevation rate because the mass of the gun will be lower. So yeah, that is pretty much how you want to optimize your guns and their elevation rates. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching, hope you guys learned something, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.